Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So at this point, we have gone over all of the rules of exponents, and what we're going to do today is just try to practice them all together. So just a reminder, what we've been learning is kind of like a set of rules for you to use when you're doing things like multiplying, dividing, raising things to powers, expressions that involve exponents, right? What you're going to notice, though, is that none of these rules actually involve adding or subtracting exponents. It's really just to deal with when you're multiplying and when you're dividing, right? So just a quick review. What I have listed here are all of the rules that we've learned so far, right? So product rules, there were actually two product rules, one for when the bases are the same and the exponents are different, and the reverse case when the exponents are the same and the bases are different. All right. So this definition side over here, right? Just think about that like a rule. It's like a recipe telling you what to do. So you start with two exponents that have the same base, like this example over here, right? The base for both of these is 3. The exponents are different. What this tells me over here is I need to add the two exponents together. So the base stays the same, right? These are both a. The final is a. So in this case, it starts with 3. And I need to add those two numbers together. So 3 plus 7 gives me 3 to the 10th power. Right? That's the first example. The second product rule is when we have different bases, but the exponents are the same. And this recipe over here tells me I need to multiply the bases together. So I need to do 5 times 2 and raise all that to the 7th power. So that's going to be equal to 10 to the 7th power. Right? Now, what's more important is just kind of understanding how these rules work instead of worrying about remembering this definition, right? Like if you know intuitively, okay, when I see something like this, I need to keep the base the same, add the powers together, that's fine. Don't worry about memorizing all these letters here, right? This is just, if you were to look inside of a math textbook, this is what you would see if you looked up the product rules. Quotient rule is similar to the first product rule, except we need to subtract our exponents. So the base is 7, it's always the top number minus the exponent in the bottom. So in this case, 4 minus 6, which actually ends up giving us a negative exponent. So 7 to the negative 2, which you can have, right? And you're going to see later, there's a negative exponent rule. So next one, the power rule. If you have something raised to a power, this tells us that I need to multiply those powers together. So this is going to be 2 raised to the 5 times 4, which gives us 2 raised to the 20th power. All right, the last two rules we went over yesterday are pretty simple. Zero rule, anytime you raise something to 0, it's always just equal to 1, right? Last one, negative exponents basically mean that you're dividing instead of multiplying. So it actually turns into a fraction. So in this case, it's 1 over 5 squared. So 1 over 5 to the 2nd power is how I could write that. And if I wanted to simplify it, which you're not really going to be doing, I could write that as 1 over 25 because I know what 5 squared is. All right? So that's how you use all the rules that we've learned so far. Basically, what we're doing today is going to be practicing. So first step, refer to the rules that we have here and practice trying to figure out the answers to these 9 questions that I have here, right? Just write the answers over to the right-hand side of the equal sign. After you finish that section there, we're going to practice some skills on IXL. All right, so during the Zoom session, I'm going to have that, IXL sheet posted that you guys would typically see to show how everybody's progress is, so I can check in with people how they're working. You can kind of compete with your classmates if you want to, right? So just to review, in case anybody says they don't remember what to do, you go to IXL, you type in your password, make sure it says University Neighborhood Middle School or you're on the wrong page, right? You're gonna click on Learning. Just bear with me, my computer goes slow with the Zoom session running. Now, skill level, you're gonna pick skill level J. Once you're in skill level J, you're gonna scroll down and look for letter F. It's on the left-hand side. So exponents and roots, that's what we're working on. you're going to work on the highlighted skills, right? 6 and 7 were the ones that we worked on yesterday. For today, you're working on these 7 skills, right? You do not have to work on them in order, right? If you feel like you really understand multiplication, you want to practice some division instead, that's fine. If you want to practice the power rule, you don't have to work on them in order. The point is just I want you to figure out what works best for you, all right? And as you're working, you're going to try to get a SMART score of at least 80, right? You can go for the 100 if you want, but that challenge zone at the end can be kind of frustrating. So if you want to stop at 80, want to practice another skill, you can. And as you go, you're going to be editing over here to just say what your SMART score was, right? So let's say you got a SMART score of 80 there, put an 80. You skipped this skill, you went down to this one, you got a SMART score of 95, type those in, just so it's easier for me to track what you're doing, right? I'm also going to be, like I said, monitoring kind of the live session as you guys are working, right? But you're still going to want to turn this in at the end of the period, right? If you only do this section here and you don't practice any of the IXL skills, you're not going to get more than a 2 for the day, right? So I need you guys to try and practice this stuff so that we get better at it, because what we're going on to next week is going to start even looking at scientific notation. And when we're dealing with scientific notation, multiplying and dividing some of those numbers specifically, you really need to know how to use the first product rule and the quotient rule specifically, right? Those are going to be the most important ones. So if you have any questions, the Zoom session will be open. I look forward to seeing you and practicing with you. All right, I'll see you later.